Hello, everyone. This is Dinocheirus from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a Q&A episode, so let's actually get started, shall we? So, Nicholas, your first question. Is it possible to find a well-preserved frozen dinosaur mummies with intact DNA in Alaska and Antarctica, since many dinosaurs lived in cold climates? No, that is not possible. Because first and foremost, DNA degrades at a very fast rate, and majority of the time, DNA is gone after a million years. And so finding DNA in terms of dinosaurs that were preserved in the rock, in terms of dinosaur mummies, like that's going to be hard. I mean, like most of Antarctica's dinosaurs are mostly from the Jurassic and a few from the Cretaceous, but we don't have because paleontologists rarely go down in Antarctica to do any expeditions there because it's going to take a lot of money to get down there, and also you have to be prepared for that cold climate and all that sorts of stuff. Now, dinosaurs that lived in cold climates. There was some permafrost, but it's not like the permafrost that we actually know today in terms of like what we see in Siberia, parts of Canada and Alaska. Not that kind. It's a little bit more softer. And also, the average most of the temperatures during the time of the dinosaurs were pretty warm. It were pretty warm, and so I wouldn't say that they could preserve that type of way in terms of the rocks that the fossils have been found in. So I probably would say no, because since that they're mostly just going to be turned to rock, and DNA does not get preserved very well. Now, we're finding like certain types of things in dinosaur fossils, like preserved blood vessels and some blood cells, but they're not viable to get DNA. And so that's the problem, is that DNA does not fossilize very well. And so that's why like the Pleistocene animals tend to have better DNA preservation, because they're actually closer to our time right now. And so, yeah, we're not going to find dinosaur DNA with dinosaurs found in Alaska, Canada, and Antarctica. No way. And then your second question, what do you think of the new Spinosaurus species that was discovered and that it has a tall crest on its head? Yeah, Spinosaurus mirabilis. Yeah, that is a really cool discovery. And we have a nearly complete skull, which is actually awesome. And so Spinosaurus mirabilis is going to be smaller than Egypticus. So mirabilis is like shorter in terms of height and length and also weight. And so this animal is going to be lightly built compared to Egypticus, but it still has some of the same characteristics as Egypticus, like the cone-shaped teeth, the crocodilian-like snout, the sail on its back, and also the tall like spines on the tail, and also has short short hind limbs. Now, what's different about mirabilis too is that mirabilis was found more inland, and so it probably was living in like rivers and some lakes in those types of areas, because mirabilis was found in Niger, and Niger was actually a little bit more further inland during the time of mirabilis, whereas Egypticus was actually a little bit further north and probably living towards, like, say, the deltas, swampy areas, and even out towards the sea. And so that really does make things a little bit more interesting in terms of that, like, that mirabilis was probably going after freshwater fish. Spinosaurus aegypticus could still do that. Aegypticus could still catch freshwater fish. We do find fossils of freshwater fish near where Aegypticus fossils have been found. But we do find sea creatures pretty close to Aegypticus as well. And so that's pretty interesting with that, is the differences between Aegypticus and mirabilis. And so, yeah, the discovery is amazing, and I actually like that. And so, at least we have a differentiation right there. Spinosaurus one's got a tall crest on its head, display purposes only, not really as a weapon to take down its prey or even against combat. It's just mainly a display structure. All right, Benjamin, your questions. How come in Chased by Dinosaurs it was easy for Therizinosaurus to win against Tarbosaurus? Well, thing is that when you look at that Therizinosaurus in that Chased by Dinosaurs episode, Giant Claw, that Therizinosaurus was larger than Tarbosaurus in terms of height and weight, and so Tarbosaurus was probably very weary going up against this animal, and also it's a healthy adult. And Tarbosaurus does not want to handle a fully grown healthy adult, even though Tarbosaurus did try to get a good bite onto it, but it failed. And of course, Therizinosaurus gave it a whack on the face. But the thing was, in that episode, we didn't get to see the claw marks on the face of Tarbosaurus, and so. But now we know that Therizinosaurus claws were not designed that way. They were not designed for slashing. They were more designed for like grabbing hold of branches. They were kind of like the giant ground sloths of the dinosaurs. Like they didn't use these for defense purposes. They could show them. Like spread their arms out wide to showcase that, like, hey, I'm bigger than you. Don't mess with me. That sort of display structure towards predators. And that's how they actually do that. But, like, yeah, Tarbosaurus didn't really stand a chance against Therizinosaurus in that one because it was a fully healthy adult. And, of course, it was a lot bigger than that Tarbosaurus. Your second question, is Deinocheirus the more common long-armed theropod in its time than Therizinosaurus? Not necessarily. Both of them are very rare. Now we're finding more Deinocheirus specimens. It's because where they're found, they're actually found in rocks that contain, like, say, like siltstone and all that, and sandstone. And so siltstone, sandstone, because that's more into like watery like areas, whereas Therizinosaurus fossils are found a little bit more inland, and Therizinosaurus fossils are definitely rare. But it's just that Deinocheirus is still rare because there's not enough expeditions to find fossils of Deinocheirus in those types of sedimentary rocks where they're found. And so I would say that, like, they're not necessarily more common. It's just that we're finding more. It's just that Therizinosaurus fossils are still rare. It's because they're a little bit more inland, and probably most of the Therizinosaurus populations probably died a little bit more inland than close to waterways, and so that probably is the reason why we're not finding a lot of Therizinosaurus fossils. But that's more likely what's happening. But we could still find more Therizinosaurus fossils. It's just that just need more excavations to actually find that out. And could Appalachiosaurus survive in modern day Canada? Probably not, because since the Appalachiosaurus lived in the eastern part of the United States, or in the eastern part of North America, around around the early part of the late Cretaceous. And so I probably would say is that, like, since that type of area was still like warm, humid, and had some rainy type of seasons, Appalachiosaurus probably could not survive in colder temperatures, and so it probably would survive for a very little bit of time. But then, of course, the prey around the prey that is available is not enough to sustain it. So it would need a lot of food, and you need a lot of food in order to survive. And so I would say no. It would survive for a short period of time, but not very long. And did Therizinosaurus and Deinocheirus compete for food? No, not necessarily. Deinocheirus was kind of living a little bit more into like swamps and like ponds, lakes, those sorts of areas where there's like some seagrass, not necessarily seagrass, but more like water weeds and all that sorts of stuff. And because in the stomach contents of Deinocheirus, we're finding is that it's finding like soft like vegetation that is more likely akin to vegetation in the water, and also it did feed on some crustaceans and some small fish, whereas Therizinosaurus is more likely going after stuff in the trees. That's what their diet is mostly going to be consisted of. So Deinocheirus had its area where it can find food, and Therizinosaurus had its area where it can find food, and so they're completely different diets. Even though they're mostly herbivores, but Deinocheirus has a more flexible diet where it can eat some meat, but mainly small prey type of stuff. Therizinosaurus could probably do that, but it's more likely going to be like insects than anything else. All right, Alex, your question or questions. Do you think that Ceratosaurus is an underrated theropod? Yes and no. In terms of like Jurassic theropods, I would probably say it's kind of underrated in a way. I don't do ratings anymore because, like, well, one, why rate things that were actual animals? You know, they're not video game characters, they're not anime characters, they're not superheroes, you know, that sort of thing. And they're not like movie monsters. So they were actual animals, and so do I think it's not getting enough attention compared to, like, say, Allosaurus, and even, like, say, like Stegosaurus, some of the sauropods during the time of the late Jurassic of the Morrison Formation? Absolutely, absolutely. But I think Marshallsaurus is a little bit more underrated than Ceratosaurus. But I would say, yeah, Ceratosaurus is a little bit underrated. But even though it's still a popular dinosaur in terms of that, like it was popular when it was discovered because of the crest above its eyes and also that crest on its nose. Like, yeah, I mean, like it was a popular dinosaur because of that. And I think it's actually kind of still a cool dinosaur, no doubt about it. I think it is still a very cool dinosaur. It's one of my favorite Jurassic theropods, and so, yeah, I think it's actually pretty. I think it's on both underrated and rated perfectly. And then your second question: do you think that the 1999 Walking with Dinosaurs became the spark for so many of the prehistoric life documentaries that we all see today? Absolutely, because like Walking with Dinosaurs in 1999, that was groundbreaking. Like, it was groundbreaking in terms of like storytelling, the narration, and of course how the animals were presented. Like, that was actually unprecedented for like that time. Whereas Prehistoric Planet, the Apple TV Plus series, that's taking that type of formula and just kind of doing that, but make it better. That's what I think that has actually had done to the paleo documentary like scope, is that Walking with Dinosaurs changed everything. It changed everything. Now, I will say is that there have been some that have not lived up to like the hype or the expectations, but even though they're average at best, you know, where we actually look at Walking with Dinosaurs, 1999 Walking with Dinosaurs is just really, really high above. It's really high on a lot of people's lists. It is for me. But Prehistoric Planet, like first two seasons, those are actually really, really good. Prehistoric Planet Ice Age, that's a downgrade a little bit, considering that we don't see the age of like when some of these events are taking place. And I think that was a big misstep for Apple TV Plus's Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. You can find my review of my review of Prehistoric Planet Ice Age on my extra episodes list, and if you go on my YouTube channel, you can look up my review of Prehistoric Planet Ice Age, and I give my thoughts and show you like each episode, show you like what kind of animals are in each episode and all that sort of stuff. But like, yeah, I would say that 1999 Walking with Dinosaurs definitely changed the game. It changed the game, no question. And that's all the questions I got for you today. Next week will be an extra episode. I'll let you guys know what I'm going to do for that extra episode. More likely going to be reviewed than anything else, but I will let you guys know what I'm going to do for that extra episode. But you can still send me questions about dinosaurs and other prehistoric life by emailing me at dinochris71@gmail.com, or just go to my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you guys should post your questions in the comment section. Please put them in the comment section. Don't put them on Messenger. Messengers are private conversations only. So please put your questions in the comment section on any Facebook post. And also for YouTubers out there, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. According to my analytics, a lot of you guys are checking out my channel, not subscribed yet. So please feel free to hit that subscribe button. And also hit the like button, because that's how the YouTube algorithm works. The more likes the video gets, the more likely the video gets spread out to people that are interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. And also share the video, share the channel to anybody that's interested in dinosaurs, prehistoric life, paleontology, and geology in general. So please feel free to do so. And also hit that notification bell so that we can get weekly notifications of every video that comes out. And also, if you go on my channel, you can go on the post tab. I post like updates on videos, news in paleontology, mainly in the dinosaur spectrum, and of course polls. I post polls every 3 days on the channel, and you guys can interact and participate in those polls, and you guys are doing great in those polls. And also for you YouTubers out there, leave your questions in the comment section, because I do read them all. All of you guys are sending me questions via email, Facebook, and YouTube. You guys are awesome. You give me some great questions for these Q&A episodes. So keep up the great work. And also make sure you keep your questions short and to the point. You can also follow me on Instagram at dino.chris.pf. I post pretty cool stuff on there. You can also follow me on Threads. Same thing, at dino.chris.pf. I post pretty cool stuff on there as well. Also, take care of the people around you. And also for younger people out there, make sure you listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. It's the best motivation you could have a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you get a good job in the future. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.